to the Sideboard here at the StarCityGames.com Modern Open in Dallas. I'm Nick Miller alongside Emma Handiff for an interview here.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I can't complain too awful much. It's a long way from home, but feeling good so far.
Right, you're one of the many players we're kind of doing a series of interviews on for the SCG Tour. Meet people who are kind of climbing the ranks, and you're someone who's had a bunch of near misses on the SCG Tour. You know,
honestly, the reminders help.
You know, we know that you just need a quick reminder on just little shortcomings, but
sure.
You're knocking on the door. You know, every week you're in the top 32 or, you know, coming close. So who's Emma Handy? Talk to us about what kind of Magic you play and where you're from.
Okay, sure. I started playing Magic in Darksteel. It's a really bad time to be a noob. My first F&M, I went 0-5 against Affinity. And I just thought, I came from a game that didn't have mana, so I just thought they were all a lot better than I was.
Sure.
But I was kind of the not great kid at the card store for a long time and started getting competitive in New Phyrexia. Mm-hmm. And in the last couple of years, I started really picking up, getting more competitive, and realized I was going out of town to a lot of Star City Games Invitational qualifiers, was going to a lot of PPGQs, and wanted to try to take it to the next level.
Sure.
I really, really like any of the quote-unquote little kid decks. I really like aggressive decks like humans, or decks that are some of their parts almost, either a combo deck or something with, you know, Nantuko Husk, collected company, a lot of little creatures that end up doing great things together.
Yeah, I was going to bring up, we've seen you play a lot of the Aristocrats, you know, the, can't remember last season's deck with Rally the Ancestors, and yet now we've seen you playing around with the Green White Tokens deck as well. All these decks that kind of function as the sum of their parts, you know. What brings you to that style of play?
I like to think that I'm very good at evaluating what's important in a very muddled board state. So my goal is to play these archetypes that make the game as complicated as possible in order to change what is more important than other cards as the game progresses. So with Rally the Ancestors, on a certain board state, Zulaport Cutthroat can be the most important card, but then if you draw Nantuko Husk, all of a sudden that's the most important card, and so on and so forth. And I consider myself someone who can change roles and evaluate boards very effectively and very efficiently.
Okay. And what pushed you toward the SCG Tour, you know, now the Players' Championship push? You know, we've seen you come into a lot of opens. When it kind of clicked that you're like, all right, now I'm going to start playing these a lot more, you know? Was there a moment?
I would say towards the end of last year, when I saw how many events were regionally close to me, or within 8 hours or so, which is kind of about what I'll stick to driving, is the 8 to 10 hour range. When I saw that I had the ability to go to a lot of them, I decided I wanted to see if I could do it, and
sure.
I have loved it. Absolutely. The community's fantastic, the people are fantastic, the employees are fantastic, just everything about it just goes so far and above and beyond what you see at other styles of tournaments. A lot of times I'll joke when I go to a Grand Prix that the worst part of the Grand Prix is the tournament. And you never have that problem at the Opens, or
sure.
let me rephrase, the SCG Tour Opens.
Yes.
You always hear about people going, wow, I sure do love Star City's Grand Prix. I wish they could run all the Grand Prix. And now that y'all have switched to this 2-day system, these are effectively miniature Grand Prix, so I just get to go to Star City Grand Prix every weekend.
Right, and we're glad to have you. You know, you've been doing a lot of writing lately, and a lot of people kind of brought your name up in terms of someone who's really writing in terms of like an introspective style, or very self-critical, you know, these types of things. You know, what has pushed you toward writing and your style of writing?
I very much like teaching. I like trying to get people from the F&M hero or the IQ grinder and try to bring them up to a more competitive setting. I'm still trying to get there myself,
sure.
But it's almost a we're all in this together type of feeling is what I at least shoot for. I don't come to these events necessarily hoping to win or hold the trophy at the end. You know, everyone would like to in Magical Christmas Land. But I just want to get better at Magic, and if I can get better and better and better, the idea is eventually results will follow. Mm-hmm. So I don't think trying to put myself on some sort of pedestal or go, oh, I'm great, and not be critical is going to help me get there.
Sure.
So I would much rather evaluate myself as thoroughly as possible.
Okay. And where do you do most of your writing?
Right now I'm on gatheringmagic.com. My articles come out every Thursday at about 11 in the morning.
Okay, and one last thing to wrap up. Something about yourself, you know, we see on the player slides we run, big music fan, so talk about, you know, instruments you play and kind of your favorite band or something.
Sure. In high school, I got a lot into playing music that was not your typical band, orchestral music. I was more into rock bands. I can play guitar, bass guitar, drums, and keyboard. Those are all things that I spent a lot of time doing. I wasn't able to sleep very well and just kind of spent time in my room learning to play different instruments. I used to be really into heavy metal, lots of Dream Theater, Avenged Sevenfold, stuff in that vein. But the last few years I've kind of gotten more into poppy music. Right now, Lady Gaga is my favorite music artist by a pretty significant margin.
All right, so your playlist, what would you put at the top?
My favorite song ever is Speechless by Lady Gaga. There's also a version she did with Elton John where they trade off verses between that and Elton John's Your Song, and it is magical.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the interview.
Oh, thank you.
Stay tuned to StarCityGames.com all weekend long for the action here in Dallas.